This photograph of me and my father was taken in the early 2000s after I moved back in with my parents to do what I could for them in the final years of their lives. The photo was taken in the dining room of their apartment in the Riverdale section of the Bronx. After my mother died towards the end of 2005, I took over the apartment and still live there. A friend of mine named Calvin Williams, who is about 22 years younger than me and who died suddenly in 2011, helped me strip the wallpaper in the background of the photo sometime before 2010. By then, my father had been gone a number of years. He died in July 2003. The kimono he's wearing in the photo he acquired in Kobe, Japan, where he spent a number of months as a World War II refugee before sailing to the U.S. in early 1941. At that point, it was still possible to book trans-Pacific passage from Japan to the U.S. because the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor was still months away. The photo was taken by a then budding Japanese-born photographer named Kyoko Hamada. Since I met Kyoko in the late 1990s, she's become an internationally celebrated artist. Yesterday, I asked Kyoko for permission to use this image, which she readily granted. This was after I began working on my latest poem, a 12-liner that begins by paraphrasing the two opening lines of what's probably British poet Philip Larkin's best-known poem, This Be the Verse, also a 12-liner. This be the verse. They fuck you up, your mom and dad. They may not mean to, but they do. They fill you with the faults they had and add some extra just for you. But they were fucked up in their turn by fools in old-style hats and coats who half the time were soppy stern and half at one another's throats. Man hands on misery to man. It deepens like a coastal shelf. Get out as early as you can and don't have any kids yourself. Though This Be the Verse is a poem I like a lot, I think it ultimately fails because Larkin didn't have the courage to make it personal enough. Also, the adjective soppy stern in the middle of the poem, which Larkin is believed to have coined, seems to me to be primarily there because stern rhymes with turn. I finished my latest poem this morning on what would have been my father's 115th birthday, and will now read it. Poem inspired by Philip Larkin's This Be the Verse. Dad fucked me up, and so did Mom. They didn't mean to, but they did, causing me to follow them into the ranks of the living dead. Not content just to fuck up a son, they went on to have and fuck up a daughter, and got no grandkids from either one, and no other form of nachas either. My sister was the first to go. 7 years later, my father went. By then, my mother was too far gone to have any idea who paid the rent.